Hi, Tim Ard here. I wanted to give you a little update. I guess it's been a month or so ago I put together a video on the Stihl HEXA chain introduction. I was asked to do a kind of a feasibility test, see how I thought it worked, and I did that for a couple months, and everything seemed to turn out pretty good. I created a little video, and then it started to show up on other channels and the internet, so I wanted to go ahead and share it with my folks. So I went ahead and published the video, and I have to apologize a little bit. Some of the comments back on music and stuff. I'm not a videographer. I'm not a audio specialist, so I had kind of put that together quick and just a small channel. I posted it, and I didn't expect it to hit like 40,000 views in a week. So a lot of the comments back and forth, some have been very positive, some have been very negative. I wanted to kind of give a little bit of an update. First of all, as far as understanding sharpening, I've been around a good bit. This is over 40 years I've been messing with chainsaws and training for two different manufacturers. I trained for technical as well as marketing people with Oregon Cutting Systems, now Oregon Tools. I was sponsored by Ferd, which is a file manufacturer and abrasives. I more or less Husqvarna licensed out my company, and I trained employees. And over the years, I had a dealership. I trained dealers and quite a lot, and I started Forced Applications a little over 30 years ago. So I can tell you my background is power equipment, and that's all I've ever done. And Soren Erickson and I did a lot with logger training and really promoting different chain aspects and teaching about chain filing and grinding. And I also assisted with several grinder versions coming out on the market with Stihl as well as Oregon. So I just wanted to kind of pass that along. I understand comments of people that have not been there. They don't understand where I'm from. But my main thing is training for chainsaw operators, for safety, number one, and number two, for productivity. And so sharpening has been a major aspect of all of our training with loggers, tree care, disaster cleanup groups, mechanics, everybody. So I just wanted to kind of pass that along a little bit. And I guess I don't know whether you learned from your grandfather or whether you read it somewhere or watched somebody, or just a lot of seat of the pants work to get to where you are on sharpening. But I've basically, as far as square ground, chisel bit filing we call it, square ground sharpening, I work very closely with Lynn Ziegelmeyer square file systems over the years till Lynn passed away. After that, I used quite a lot of the Sylvie systems, as well as also I did use some of the Symington. But I'm not sponsored by anybody. It's just Forced Applications training. So utilizing all those machines and really promoting them out in our training for different occupations or different organizations that need them. And very, very closely with, like I say, Oregon Cutting Systems, Oregon Tools now, and more or less trying different things. And even I was very involved in the lightweight bars when they first came out, and some of those issues and different things, and a couple different cutting styles of Oregon saw chain. And so I was asked to take a look at this Hexa chain and see what I thought about it. And I can tell you I was quite impressed. And I'm gonna get some close-ups here, but this is not a square ground chain. This is a chain that is basically the Stihl RS chain, very similar to Oregon 70 series chain, full profile 3/8, square top, square side. But it's not chisel filed. It's not square ground. It's not round filed. This is a completely different file concept and a different grind concept. And so when you look at this, there's really people asked about, take the gullet out. The gullet really was for clearance to the kerf. It doesn't help in clearing the chip, even on a square filed or chisel ground chain. That chisel, if you look at a chip, comes out very flat. It takes two teeth, left and right, to actually put together a full chip. And if you look at it, it comes out as a ribbon. It doesn't go into the gullet area. The reason why you take the gullet out is to basically, the side of the tooth tapers back. So as you file it back, you've got to reduce the width of it, or it's going to have resistance in the kerf. And that's the whole process there, is to reduce that resistance. And it will help the cut. There's no doubt. It'll speed up the cutting capacity of the tooth. But, on this particular design, there's not really a gullet issue. Okay. And the other thing is, this file doesn't take a channel up to the point. It basically goes across, and I'm going to try to get some closer shots of this so you can kind of see. But this file is six-sided, but it only has 4 cutting surfaces. It only has 4 filing surfaces. If you look at it, the top surface is marked with a line, and that's to line up your top angle. And then the bottom of the file is actually smooth. And the concept here is, the best I figured, which I haven't really been instructed, in it. All I had was a chain, a file, and a bar for it to go on. And more or less, you line this up into the cutter, and the file, the smooth portion on the bottom, does ride into the gullet area, okay? And so it more or less keeps the file from going too high or too low. I had a question, what happens as you file it back? Well, because of the width of the surfaces, basically that file, as it goes backwards, it's indexing off of the bottom of the gullet area. And so as you file back, the tooth just more or less lowers itself onto the file cutting surface. So it gives you a long life for the file. This one's still cutting pretty good. And I've sharpened this chain back a little over halfway. I rocked it a couple times using it. And one guy said that I, in my 20 days of training on it, I basically was training other people with this. And so not teaching them how to file, we were basically cutting trees and bucking up and limbing. And more or less, I used it as on my training saw. And there was times it was rocked and those kinds of things. And I basically took the file, no other instruments, and basically took the damage off of it, because you can take this, lift it just a little bit, and take out any damage off of the top plate and the side plate, and then come back down to the bottom of the gullet. As you file through, you just line that up on your 25-degree top angle, and it works the tooth. But it's kind of similar to the Husqvarna X-Cut or the newer Oregon chains, to where if you look at that point, sticks out a little bit. The edge of this file actually comes in to the about halfway down the surface of the side cutter of the tooth. And it's very, very unique. But all you do is you let it rest in that gullet area and push back against the tooth surface and hold your top angle correct, and it does the work. And I was very skeptical with that. It looked like a kind of a hawkbill sticking out there, but it causes no resistance whatsoever. You can look here on the tie straps and teeth bottoms on here. The wear below the cutter is very, very even. You don't have any pressure forward or pressure back, so you don't have any wear on the heel or the toe of the cutter. The depth gauge, I did use one of the Husqvarna file plates to take it down, but I also checked it with the Oregon 25 thousandths gauge it tool. And so I've used both of them on the depth gauge settings. So it's pretty much stock depth gauge setting, and it has done an absolute fast job in about 10 or 12 different wood types. I've cut anywhere from white pine, yellow pine, loblolly, all the way up to hickory, oak, hackberry. I've cut all kinds of different species, cherry, and it basically did a good job in all of them. I've been quite impressed. So I just wanted to kind of pass that along for those of you who say, you know, it's just another type of file for a square ground chain. It's not. And you basically work with it very similar to a round file, but it more or less guides itself because of its design. And that flat surface on the bottom, it's very easy to put pressure back into the more or less radius of the tooth, which is kind of a V-shaped area. And I'll try to get some good pictures of it here close up so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But it's not going to be available as far as I know. They're starting to introduce it over in Germany area, but I haven't heard of anything else. It's going to be first quarter or the middle of 2022 before the parts and the file are available as far as I know in the United States. So it's just kind of a first off, just an idea of what's happening, and hopefully at some point in time, if you want to give it a try, you can. But it's going to be next year sometime, 2022, before it's going to be out there. So just wanted to kind of pass that along to you a little bit, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up some of this once it gets going, and really think about and understand it a little bit, so that you're able to not sit there and push it into a category of round filed or chisel bit filed. This is going to be a new grind experience. So I hope you understand that. So good sawing to all of you. Please be careful out there, and we'll keep you updated. And also subscribe to my channel. Also have a podcast series out if you don't like videos, but you can subscribe to my channels, and we have all kinds of information as far as chainsaw operation, maintenance, and those kinds of things. And that's my background: service schools, working with chainsaws in all different aspects, and hopefully in those you'd be able to pick up something you can apply to your experience, and we both make it. So thank you very much, and hope to see you along the Forest Apps Road.